How's it, guys? This is Dayvy FPL and welcome back to another Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now, I hope you guys have had a great international break. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how your FPL season has been going, we're going to be getting straight back into the Game Week 5 action here, back into our FPL season. I know we've had a little bit of a break. Hopefully it's been enjoyable and you've managed to refresh your mind or even managed to ponder some wildcard decisions if you are on it, or even some transfer decisions if you still have some free transfers up your sleeve. But we're going to be getting into the Game Week 5 preview in this video. As usual, over on my Twitter at DayvyFPL, I asked you guys to send me whatever questions you want me to answer. So hopefully we're going to be getting into some highly anticipated questions, and this video is going to be interesting overall. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it. Now, the first question that was stressed to me was a lot of defender questions. So the first one was, where's the budget defenders and who should we be looking at? At 4.5, plus minus, some of these players might rise in price at the time of viewing this video, so just be cautious of that. But these players come in around that 4.5 million mark, which kind of classifies them as your budget options. It's not scraping the barrel exactly, as they do come in a little bit more pricey than, say, Lundstrom, who is about 4.1 mil. But at 4.5 mil, you're kind of looking at players that are set starters in their teams and should be getting you some FPL points and hopefully a lot of clean sheets. So I've gone for 3 defenders here, a lot of similar stats as you can see, but they are quite different in their play styles and even how their teams play. So let's get into it. The first one is Leicester's Soyuncu. Apologies to any Turkish viewers of this channel. I probably just butchered that name quite badly, but I'm sure you'll forgive me for that one. But the Leicester centre-back has been in great form since replacing the likes of the departed Harry Maguire, and to be honest, he's filled his shoes quite well. Overall, Leicester have kept 1 clean sheet and he has managed to get 1 assist. A lot of these players are centre-backs, so I just put assists in here as they haven't been scoring a lot of goals. And to be honest, I don't know how the Leicester man's attacking threat on set pieces is, but overall, defensively, he looks quite good. And the thing about Leicester is if you can kind of forgive their next 2 fixtures, which are relatively tough, they go on a nice run of green fixtures. So I'm expecting quite a lot of clean sheets there and maybe even a cheeky goal or 2 from the Leicester centre-back. He's managed to play every single minute since the start of the season, which shows to me that he is nailed in Brendan Rodgers' lineup, and I don't see him being rotated that much. I think that he's set in that lineup alongside Johnny Evans and should be playing a lot of minutes this season, and hopefully that equals a lot of FPL points. The next one is Tyrone Mings, who just this week has managed to be called up to his first international games for England. I haven't seen him play for them, so maybe he'll be playing tomorrow night at the time of this video being released. But Tyrone Mings is also in great form. Aston Villa are not the exact defensive titans in the Premier League this season. I don't really expect them to be, but the thing with Tyrone Mings is he does offer a little bit of attacking threat. As you can see, he's managed 1 assist, and I'm sure we're getting the odd goal or 2, and at 4.5 million, that's all that you can really ask for. Overall, Aston Villa have also kept 1 clean sheet, and as Leicester do, Aston Villa have great fixtures as well. He's also nailed in that lineup, playing every single minute of every single Premier League game, and I don't think he's going to be going anywhere in that starting lineup. They've just signed him on a permanent deal in this transfer window, so he's definitely one of the star players for them, and I can see him getting some FPL points in the future. Then we have Masuaku from West Ham, plays in that fullback position, not really a conventional fullback, but he does get the job done. Now, West Ham don't really keep that many clean sheets, so I wouldn't be expecting too many defensive points, but the thing with Masuaku is he is playing in an attacking West Ham team, and he does get forward quite a bit. He's managed only 1 assist, which has happened in Game Week 4, so he's kind of got all his eggs in one basket in Game Week 4, managing a clean sheet and an assist. And he is a little bit nailed. He managed to miss out on the first game week, whether that was to injury or who knows what, but he has started the rest of the fixtures and he looks to be nailed, and I think that we can be expecting some assists or some at least attacking threat. And the thing, at 4.5, you can have him on your bench and you can always bring him on if they do have a kind fixture. So these 3 are kind of the budget options to look at. Budget does not necessarily mean bad. I think that they will be getting a lot of points. Probably not as many points as the more premium options, but definitely ones to look at as we look to shift funds into our midfield and forwards. So our next question was the best defenders at around that 5.5 million mark. I've chosen the best 5.5 around that mark here, as I did cover the budget options in the previous kind of topic. So we're going to be looking at who comes in at a little bit more of a premium price, and hopefully that means some more FPL points. But as you can see, I've got Peters here from Burnley. He does come in at about 4.6, 4.7, but I do consider him more of a premium option and even more of a better option than the likes of the other budget defenders I've covered in this video. Main reason being is Burnley have always been a stereotypically defensive side, and they do have some amazing fixtures coming up. So if you're looking at maybe transferring out the likes of Laporte or Wan-Bissaka, maybe look at the Burnley man. You could also go for someone like Lowton or Tarkowski, but I think with Peters, he has played every single minute of the season. I mentioned in my preseason videos that I was looking at the likes of Charlie Taylor. Funny thing is that Peters has taken his spot. Whether that is for the continued future is yet to be seen, but I think that Peters has given Sean Dyche no reason to drop him, and he looks to be in some good form. Burnley have kept 1 clean sheet and Peters has kept 2 assists under his belt. It is noted that those 2 assists did come at the start of the Premier League season, and they have played the likes of Liverpool, so maybe we can forgive him for not being in that much of an attacking form as of the most recent fixtures. But I think at 4.6, 4.7, he's a great entry into that Burnley defense. As I said, you could look for other Burnley options. I've just selected Peters here as he has been the standout defender for them. So one that I'm looking at, I'm kind of focusing on those Burnley fixtures for my transfers for this upcoming game week, as they just have such a nice run of green fixtures. The next option is Maitland-Niles from Arsenal, and I know what you're thinking, Dayvy, why on earth do you have an Arsenal defender? They simply cannot buy a clean sheet. Well, they have bought 1 clean sheet this season, 1 clean sheet and 1 assist for Maitland-Niles, but similar to Peters, Arsenal have some great fixtures coming up, basically from now till the December period. So I'm definitely looking at trying to get an Arsenal player into my lineup. The one thing with Maitland-Niles is you never really know when the other fullbacks are going to be coming back from injury. The likes of Tierney and Bellerin are always in the waiting list. Bellerin is a little bit injury prone, but the new signing for Arsenal, Tierney, should be playing and should be starting as he was signed just this transfer window. So I kind of think that maybe while it's good, we should hop on Maitland-Niles and then we can kind of transfer him out a little bit later, similar to almost the likes of Zinchenko for Man City. But I think with Arsenal, they're going to be getting a lot of attacking returns, and Maitland-Niles does get quite forward. He is a known midfielder slash forward, but he's kind of been turned into a fullback. So you can always see him getting forward, putting in a couple dribbles and maybe even a shot or two. So he's one on my radar that I'm definitely looking at. I know Arsenal aren't the best defensive side, but I definitely think that Maitland-Niles has potential to get a lot of FPL points in these nice fixtures. Then coming up with Otamendi at 5.4, almost the cheapest, if not the cheapest entry into that Man City lineup. He has managed 1 clean sheet and 0 assists, but as a centre back you can't really expect that much attacking threat from him, and he has played 270 minutes. Missed out the first game week of the FPL season, but since then has been a set start in that lineup, and with the likes of Laporte falling out to injury and looks to be out for about 4 to 5 months. I think that Man City have a shortage of centre backs, so I can see Otamendi starting basically every game, as John Stones is a little bit injury prone, so whether Otamendi and Stones rotate with the likes of Kyle Walker maybe coming in, but I think that Otamendi is the safe option to go for. And we'll talk about other Laporte kind of variations of transfers you can go for later in the next kind of topic, but at 5.4 is a little bit hard to ignore. Comes in about 0.1 more cheaper than Zinchenko, so definitely one that I'm keeping my eye on. Unfortunately, I have tripled up on Man City, so I can't go for him, but I think he's a set swap for the likes of Laporte and definitely almost the best option in my eyes. Man City also keep a lot of clean sheets, and they are my favorites to keep the most clean sheets this season, so definitely a safe pick, and you always want to have a Man City defender in your lineups. Then we have Coleman, who has kept 2 clean sheets, 0 assists, but he's played every minute for Everton, and Everton seem to be struggling a little bit with goals at the start of the season, but defensively they were sound, and I'm hoping that they can continue this kind of defensive form going into the future, as I am a Lucas Dean owner. Coleman comes up quite cheaper than him, about 0.5, maybe due to price rises could be a little bit more, but Coleman is a safe option at 5.5, and definitely someone you should look at if you don't have an Everton defender. Then coming up with our best Laporte replacements, obviously it's terrible news that Laporte did get injured. About 4.5 months is the scheduled time for recovery, so that's one to keep your eye on if you do have him in your squads, and I think a lot of players do. So I've gone for 3 options here, kind of the premium options. Obviously, you can go for any of the other options I've covered in this video. Those are just a little bit cheaper. But if you want to kind of stay around that price point, you can go for the likes of Van Dijk, just a set swap. Lucas Dean, who I'm sure most of you have in your squads, but if you don't have him, and you can kind of put up the money for him over someone like Coleman, then I definitely go for him. Managed 2 assists and 2 clean sheets this season. Or you can go for Kyle Walker, maybe a little bit of a riskier bid, as with the likes of Cancelo waiting in the wings, we could maybe see some rotation there. But he's almost a set swap for Laporte if you want to get another place in that Man City defense. Now going on to the forwards, which is another hot topic, and personally one that I'm considering for my game week transfers for game week 5. We've got a spoilt choice here. I consider us so lucky to have almost these budget forwards that are performing so well for us this season, and I think that we're going to have to be bringing in a lot of them from now to the end of the season. So I've covered 4 of my favorites, and I think that I'll kind of rank these towards the end of this topic. But we've got Ashley Barnes, Pukki here, Haller, and Abrahams from Chelsea. All are quite interesting. Obviously, we have Barnes, who's the cheapest, with Haller coming in the most expensive, about 7.4, 7.5 depending on price rises, and then Abraham also around that 7-point bracket, and then Pukki coming just below that 7 mil kind of price bracket due to masses of price rises. So as you can see, all of these forwards have been performing really well. To me, it's kind of just a fixture game. Ashley Barnes has some of the best fixtures coming up in the next couple game weeks. Haller also has a lot of favorable fixtures and could potentially be the best option in terms of stats and performances. But I think with Abrahams as well, I know his next 2 aren't that appetizing, but the thing is, if you're going to be paying about 7 mil for a potential top 6 team and you're playing their starting striker for 7 mil, that's a bonus in my eyes. So Abraham seems to have locked down that centre forward position under Frank Lampard. So I'm going to be backing him to be racking up the goals this season. I just think maybe it's a little bit of a wait and see for me, as I do have Mason Mount. So I'm not that excited to jump on a double Chelsea attack. I'm considering the likes of Barnes and Haller, as I do have the likes of Pukki in my squad. I don't think Pukki is an essential kind of player to bring in for the next couple game weeks. I think that Haller and Barnes are going to be outperforming him. I'll probably be proven wrong, as I have countless times throughout my FPL season, but I do think that Barnes and Haller right now, if you don't own Pukki, are a better option to kind of bring in. Personally, I think that Barnes is the best option here, followed by Haller and then Abraham. Personally, I just think that you could go for maybe someone like the likes of Mason Mount, who comes in a little bit cheaper and also is also offering excellent attacking stats. So hopefully that's kind of given you some conclusion to who to bring in. Personally, I think Barnes, but you could also opt for Haller. Now, the other question that was asked was what to do with Mr. Harry Kane, obviously coming off the back of 2 penalty goals in his international break for England, which is a great stat. The one thing I'm kind of seeing a similarity between his goal scoring is that there's a lot of pens. You could see, I covered him in the last preview video where I spoke about that we have to almost give him the Arsenal fixture to see what he does. He managed to get a pen there, which he converted very well. But the thing is with Harry Kane, I think for around the price he is, you could opt for other cheaper strikers that are performing better than him. They do have some nice fixtures, so I think if you don't own Harry Kane, I wouldn't be bringing him in, but it's kind of a sticky situation if you do own him. I think that he has been performing quite averagely for his price point. If he was priced a little bit cheaper, he could be performing quite well, but I do think there's other options that you could downgrade and maybe upgrade one of your midfielders for. So with Harry Kane, I think it might be the time to sell him. Watch him score a brace now against Crystal Palace. I think if there are other fires to put out of your squads, you could maybe neglect him for another game week. I think Crystal Palace at home is not the worst in the world, so you could maybe hold on to him for another game week and just see how he performs. But the thing with Harry Kane is he usually drops quite low for me, quite deep should I say, and I think that Son is probably a better option if you are looking at Spurs. Now, the last kind of topic we're going to be going over is Manchester United assets. I know a lot of Manchester United fans play FPL, and a lot of us generally had players in our squads from them, as we were expecting them to get off to quite a hot start, and hopefully a better start than they did last FPL season. But unfortunately, that has not been the case entirely. Their goal scoring form isn't the worst in the world, and if you did have Martial or Rashford or one of them, you could probably be happy. I know a lot of people are looking at transferring Rashford out, or even the likes of Martial. I think if you do own Martial, you could hold on for another 2 game weeks. I think then you could make the move to Mason Mount. He is cheaper than Martial, so that's not really that. You don't have to really be worried about price rises. and Leicester and West Ham aren't the worst fixtures, and then you can kind of see how they're going into that Arsenal fixture at home. Then you can kind of look at if you want to transfer them in or out, and then we can kind of get a good assessment after these next couple game weeks. I think defensively, I don't really see a clean sheet for them in the next 3, so if you do own a Manchester United defender, you could look at transferring them out. The thing with Manchester United defenders is they're not that attacking, so you're not going to be getting that many attacking returns, and you're kind of banking on them getting a clean sheet. So if you do have other fires to put out, you can do that, but I think that if the only problem with your squad's kind of a Manchester United defender, I would potentially look at transferring them out. As I said, I don't really see many clean sheets in the next couple game weeks. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you're new or have simply just not subscribed yet. Otherwise, follow me at Dayvy FPL for the next game week preview. I apologize if I didn't get to your question. I hopefully will the next game week if you do ask another one. But otherwise, I'm going to be signing off. This has been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.